Everybody, welcome to Planet FPL, the world where everything revolves around fantasy Premier League. My name's Suj.
And my name is James.
We go again, James. It's game week 27. We are 9/10 of the way through the game week. For people that sometimes wonder, like, they say you should never see how the sausage is made. I think that's the phrase that people use, right?
Love a sausage, mate.
Listen, trust
Don't
people don't
take
want to
that
see how the
innuendo the wrong
podcast
way,
is
please,
made.
people.
I think I have done this intro for the 10th time today. We've had some technical issues so far this morning. So if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, what are these guys on about? Trust me, we've recorded the first 5 minutes of this podcast about 5 times. And I've told the same story about 5 times. And it's absolutely the worst thing to have to go again. But we will.
Can I jump in
And
and just
yeah,
say
yeah,
your
yeah.
game week is still going to be shit, no matter how
Yeah,
many
it's like,
times you say
do you
it.
know what I mean? Imagine you had a bad game week and you're fed up with FPL and you have to talk about it, which is fine. But then you have to talk about it again and again. I think Groundhog Day is the movie, isn't it? So I will say this for the listeners for the first time, for you about the 16th time. Yeah, glad that my weekend doesn't revolve around fantasy Premier League, if I'm honest with you, because it has been garbage. It started off garbage from Chelsea conceding very late against Burnley and not recovering. And to be honest, I kind of checked out after that because I knew the rest of the game was going to follow in an awful vein after that.
How can you know that?
It's true actually. You're right, because normally what happens is if the game week starts badly, it finishes well, and if it starts well, it finishes badly, and you end up
Yeah, how many times you be like, oh, I'm on 50 from
like
5 on
no points from
Saturday,
the
and then
Saturday.
yeah, 12 from
Um,
6 on the Sunday.
yeah, but it wasn't helped by the fact that I missed the first 20 minutes of the West Ham game straight afterwards as well, due to bad logistics and planning on my half. And we'll share more on that on Tottenham. But I ended up going to Spain at the weekend, James, which is an hour ahead. And it wasn't until I'd already booked a restaurant that my kids wanted to go to that I realized, oh, I've booked it at the same time as kickoff, thinking originally that I had enough time to watch at least the first half of the game.
At least
So
they had
yeah, it
strong
was
Wi-Fi.
uh, in a restaurant with no Wi-Fi where I couldn't stream on my phone. More on that on Tottenham, but yes, just like frustrating game week. It's been a frustrating few game weeks. I'm just kind of in the mud at the moment, mate.
Sorry, mate. So what, double Chelsea defence gone, double Arsenal defence gone, Maxence Lacroix injured.
And Palace keep a clean sheet. Let's
Hmm.
add that all into the mix. I sold Nico O'Reilly for Trevor Chalobah 3 weeks ago, James. You still hold Nico O'Reilly because of the fact that you're an expert and I'm just here along for the ride.
No.
And in that time, if I'd said to you, right, okay, over 6 fixtures, Chelsea are playing Wolves, Burnley, Leeds, and Arsenal are playing Wolves, Brentford, Spurs. How many clean sheets between them? Nobody had zero on the bingo card, surely. So my defense has been delivering nothing in the past few weeks, other than the odd DEFCON here and there. Trevor Chalobah, who has been pretty good for DEFCONs, you keep raising it each and every week, James, that he's getting the DEFCONs. Guess what? He ends on 9.
Oh, he ain't going to get it every game, is he?
No, but to end on 9, I'd rather he ended on 4 or 5 rather than just be one DEFCON away from it. Jurien Timber picks me up a nice little DEFCON and then completely negates it by getting himself booked and not even making it to 60 minutes. So it's like a 1 point assist. Sorry, not DEFCON. He got me an assist. It's a 1 point assist. Haaland's assist at the weekend counts for nothing because everyone and their dog owns Erling Haaland.
That helped me a bit.
Not a lot, right? Let's be honest. So it's like Declan Rice's DEFCON and Jared Bowen with a DEFCON are the only points that I'm picking up that have any kind of rank gain. 32 points. Red Arrow. Brian and Bumo is going to rescue my game week tonight against Everton, surely. And Bruno Fernandes still to go. But honestly, it's the knock-on effect of these transfers. I've had such an awful defense all season. And to get nothing out of any of these fixtures the last few weeks is a right pain.
I shall pretend that Tottenham Hotspur don't exist today, which would probably do me a favour if they
Not going to
didn't.
allow you to do that.
And thanks, I love you too. And I'm going to tell you that I'm living life O'Reilly because, yes, I do still own him. Although, quite correctly, as you pointed out, truthfully, I wanted to sell him a few weeks ago as
Yeah,
well.
exactly. I mean, I had the
And
choice of selling O'Reilly or selling Lacroix. I've ended up selling O'Reilly. Lacroix is now injured anyway, and O'Reilly's got and torn it up in the last couple of weeks.
go back 3, 4 weeks or so. It's like, oh, wait, Norrie's getting back fit. Or he's looking fatigued, like he needs a rest, etc. He played the odd game in midfield in a deep role, particularly, say, for
Yeah.
example, League Cup semi final first leg against Newcastle. And there was no sign of potential returns forthcoming. I was like, week on week, I do think he's first choice, but week on week, this is going to be a little bit of a headache. And I didn't move him because I only had zero point 0.2 in the bank. And the two players I'd wanted to go to, Chalobah and Munoz,
Yep.
I couldn't
Couldn't
do it in
afford
one
them.
move. Well, I could have done it quite easily in two, but I didn't deem that it was worth two free transfers to be thumping that about, basically. And at least with the recent games against Fulham and obviously at the weekend against Newcastle, I didn't have doubt that he would play. So it was like, well, I'm going to leave that now. And let's hope he gets me 6 pointer. That's not how it's returned. It's turned out a lot bigger than that. So, yeah, Nico O'Reilly has saved
What did he
a
score last week?
week before.
Yeah.
Well, he scored against City the week before, didn't he?
Oh, he
So
scored it, and
was
was
it
that a clean sheet as
13?
well?
Was it? Yeah,
Yeah.
13
So
of
30
30
points
points
over
across the
two
two
game weeks.
weeks.
Wow, monster. That's like
Um,
my whole team score this week, mate, almost so far.
you've got 2 more
Do you know what I mean? I've
points
got
this
32
week
points,
than
and
I've got
Nico
from
Riley's got in the last 2 weeks,
Nico Riley in the
having
last
wanted
two.
to sell him.
I love this game sometimes, and other
Well,
times
this
I
is
hate
it,
it.
right? You can't that's why you can't let the world actually revolve around fantasy Premier League because it's a guessing game, like we always say. Like, but also if you own him, like enjoy the highs because why not? It's what it's there for. Just don't let yourself get beaten up too much by the lows.
Correct. You know me, I love a 17 pointer. So I've got another one here from Nico O'Reilly.
Fourth of the
Captain.
season? No, probably
Um,
more because you've had Erling Haaland at some point with hat tricks, surely.
well, I the 101 there was 3 17 pointers, weren't it? Weren't they?
That
Thiago
was
Rice
yeah. So
and
that's
Chow.
definitely four. I feel like you probably got another one in there
I'm
somewhere.
sure there is probably somewhere, yeah, but I do love a 17 pointer. Haaland, captain assist, Declan Rice, Defcon, Timber, same for me as it was for you. And the other little difference for me this week, Bart for Bruggen, with
Yep.
an unexpected 7 point return as well. Almost a bit disappointed it's only the seven because it was just slightly outside the bonus as well. But we take that 53 points is good against other scores knocking about. I do have Bruno Fernandes to go tonight. Jumped up to 20k. I expect that to get worse tonight, subject to what Bumo and Dyer and Tarkovsky. There's lots of little bits knocking about tonight.
Mm.
Bumo's ownership is half decent, so but yeah, it's very difficult to foresee that won't at worst end up in a green arrow. So yeah, we'll take it and we
Nice,
move.
good. Do it. Do it, do it, do it. When your
I'd
football team's letting you down, and mine's letting me down at the moment as well, James, take the FPL gains while you can. There's got to be some joy somewhere.
I have made a move, so I'd rolled to 5 free transfers. I did make one transfer last night. It was the move that I was kind of deliberating Friday, Saturday, not for last week, admittedly, but to do this week. I'm going to get forced into one, I think, because I'd happily leave the team really. So I've gone Van Dijk in for Timber last night.
Yeah, did he? There was a price movement happening that way as well. I thought I could
I
see.
assume Van. Do you know what? I haven't even checked if Van Dijk went up in
Mm,
price
he was
overnight, but
due to. I
he
think a
was
lot of
certainly
people were
going
looking
to.
at making that move. Yeah.
I've obviously I'm still sitting there with 4 threes. I have a very good, I think, bus team this week. I was looking a lot last night at possibly even bench boosting this week, which I don't think that I'm going to do. But I could do things like Enzo Fernandez is sitting on my bench at the moment. And obviously, I'm in a position where I can bring Harry Wilson in. I did bench Harry Wilson this week, just gone. So Wilson in for Enzo Fernandez is kind of like the change to my 11 along with Van Dijk for Timber. Bus team looks really good for this week. I've got Malik Chow at home to Everton sitting as first sub. He's suspended for Newcastle's second leg, so no question that he plays. I have looked at things like Enzo to Rayan or Dango and Alderete to say Conser, Joachim Anderson, something like that, and then going, well, he's that strong enough to pull the trigger. I think I'm more unlikely to do it than do it, but the fact that I've been set up in this position for quite a while with Wilson as eighth attacker kind of enables me to look at it. But I'd still think, I think if I bench boosted this week, there's every chance that it will score more than what I'll end up doing in 33. But I think I'm still of the feeling that 33 has a higher ceiling. Therefore, I would
To
rather
just hold
chase
fire.
that.
Yeah, I
That's
agree with
kind of
you. I
where
could
I'm at.
see that.
Like me, I say the 16 points from the bench boost. If I looked at the Bravcar, Chow, say Anderson and Utara this week as a bench boost, it'd probably be Declan Rice. Actually, it'd probably become part of my bench. So like Rice, Anderson, or Konsa plus Chow plus Dubravka. Do I think that gets me 16 points? I think there's every chance it does, but I still think my ceiling could be higher later on. So I'm most likely to hold off, I think. So
Unlike you, James, am not looking at my team thinking it looks good for this game week. In that I've got 3 Arsenal versus 3 Chelsea all playing each other.
you know what that means? You'll
Um,
probably smash me to bits with returns this week.
why?
But it's just the way the game goes sometimes, doesn't it? It's like,
Yeah. Uh,
how many times have you sat there and gone, my team look, and I think a few people have had this very recently and gone, oh my God, my team looks absolutely amazing. And yet the
and it's
returns have
rubbish.
underwhelmed. And then you'll have weeks where you're like, I'm in trouble this week and it goes fine.
Yeah, I get that. I could be end up with quite a lot of def cons within that game. Maybe Shalabar and Gabriel and Rice and so on. If it's a 0-0, then I'm laughing all the way to the bank. But the likelihood of that is, let's be honest, low. Brobby is flagged. I'm not sure what the status is on him. I need to check that out. Freddie Potts is obviously not even, he's suspended, but even when he's not suspended, he's not been playing in the team in the Premier League. And Lacroix is flagged as well. And there's a few weeks on that. So I may deal with the Lacroix situation because
The
I
quad
know
we think will
he's,
be back, by the way. We think he'll be all
with
right.
thanks. Thanks. Just in time to not keep a clean sheet, no doubt.
Just saying.
Um, but obviously, he's a player that I don't. He's not going to play in 31. So my transfers that I'm using now, I do need to think about what am I doing for game week 31. So that Timber to Van Dijk seems to be flavour of the week for everybody. Outside of that, maybe Joachim Anderson for Lacroix is a potential. Igor Thiago coming in for Jared Bowen is also a potential. I could deal with Brobby maybe in the future. He's only yellow flagged as it stands at the moment, so he may
But
play.
probably he doesn't play Tottenham for another 5 game week. Suj had probably been it.
Yeah, true. Yeah, he needs a visit to the doctor. To be honest with you, yeah, I've got plenty of problems. Do you know what? Like, let's say, I know this is far fetched or what have you, but let's say Bumo goes and scores a hat trick tonight, right? And I end up on a green arrow. It completely changes the complexion of how I'm looking at my problems. So I'm not going to panic and I'm not going to make any moves just yet. I'll be holding fire till tomorrow. But yeah, I've got some serious thinking to do, to be honest with you. It's not like I've got 1 or 2 transfers. I've got to really figure out what my strategy looks like because I don't like the look of my team.
It's not a good place to
Yeah,
be. I mean, have you considering wildcard?
no, no. The upside of the double game mix is far too much, to be honest with you. Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
but it's a common mistake many of us will make, right? Overlook the fact team might be in trouble.
Need to fix it. But is it in trouble? It's one bad game week that I've got ahead, right? After that, is it as bad as that? Like
I
Chelsea
think you've
fixture
got a
might come
number
around.
of people there you want to bin, right? Lacroix, the
Potts,
Chelsea,
Lacroix,
the two forwards.
Robbie. mm, yeah,
Once you get to
Rob.
that point, you can obviously touch up other bits as well, right?
And obviously, if I've got my 3 free transfers, if I roll them through, then I've still got my free transfers to fix up bits further down the line, which is why I suppose rolling has kind of helped.
Look, you could set this to bench boost 29 or 30.
Mm.
There's a
Yeah,
possibility.
yeah. As it stands at the moment, I'm not panicking. I'll just let's get this last game week fixture out of the way tonight, and then take stock of where we're at and what I need to do, rather than panic. Just in case it does go well, then I'm not like forcing an issue or not playing on tilt as sometimes has been this season. Frustrating this year. This has not been a fun season. I'll be honest with you. It's a you 20k, Mr. 20k. All right.
At least I've got to have some joy in my life, and I.
Yeah, yeah. You should start a new podcast with old Slippers at Let's
Andy
Talk
smashing
Andy.
it as well, isn't he?
You could call it FPL experts or us or something.
Oh,
Go on,
leave off, will you?
pros. The pros are in the house. Get Harry as
You,
well.
you know that you
Is
know
he
the
up there
danger
as
of me
well?
doing all right, don't you? I'll start getting thrown into the cartel and stuff, don't I? Which
You got
doesn't normally happen to me.
James is in the cartel. He's the
Yeah,
head of the
sure. Yeah,
cartel.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
one. Yeah, yeah.
Good, good,
I
good.
kept Nico O'Reilly because I'm part of the Codes of Cartel. That's right.
You and Pep, because you're in this ball person society where you give each other secret information about what's going on. You feed tactics to Pep, and he tells you that Nico O'Reilly's going to score 30 points in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Can he feed those tactics to my new board manager potentially as well, Mr. Igor?
Don't judge him too harshly yet.
No, I'm
It
not
was a
going to.
tough game
I'm
yesterday.
not going to. I'm
And
not
we'll
going to.
talk about it when we get to it. Is that a segue? Should we talk about the games? Let's
Yeah,
before
let's
we
do it.
segue. Do you want to do the content for the week?
Yeah, can do. Clash of correspondence tomorrow. Liverpool versus West Ham United with Dan Lord and Chris Stone. Obviously, I know lots of people looking at Liverpool assets this week. Few have already gone Van Dijk. Verts, I think, was going to be very, very popular. He may still be, by the way. Obviously, didn't play for Liverpool yesterday. Ask James Wednesday lunchtime. Fan view on Thursday with Gemma and Harrison Eno discussing West Bromwich Albion. They're on the brink. I mean, it's beginning to look like one
Mm,
of them or Leicester City is probably going to go down into League One. So, going to get Gemma and Harrison's view on that.
sad at the weekend. Obviously, Sheffield Wednesday really gone right, but we knew with the points deductions and all
Yeah,
that was inevitability. But to be in February and be relegated really still hurt. It's
and at your rivals as well. Rough.
Yeah, I felt for them at the weekend, even though it was an inevitability. Just the timing and everything of it didn't feel nice.
Still on minus points. That's so rough.
Yeah,
Um, Weekend with myself and David on Friday, obviously. Remember, it's a Friday deadline this week as well. Surge, it's a Friday deadline. Wolves versus Aston Villa on Friday night. There will be a deadline stream on YouTube as well. If you want to support the show, it's www.patreon.com/Planet FPL. Got plenty going on there. Podcast this week, Q&A, UCL Fantasy Playoffs, second legs, Tottenham. I'm sure there'll be no whinging or moaning there. Money in Football and Differential Show Game Week 28 preview on Friday as well.
lovely, jubbly,
And
indeed.
Nico's back, so so's Nico's Corner for advanced
Oh,
tier patrons.
awesome! And your laptop's not getting the hammering that it was last week. Then with all
So
the
true.
edits. Welcome back, Nico. We needed the man. Yeah, it's just the other technology issues that we're having trying to do the intro, but we're making it this far. I think we'll get through to the end of this show. Should we segue into the games?
Do it.
Aston Villa 1, Leeds 1. It feels like late goals have been the saviour of the relegation battle a little bit. Like I know Leeds is still that little bit further ahead, but with Liverpool's late goal against Nottingham Forest as well. Yeah, Aston Villa 1, Leeds 1. Hell of a free kick from Anton Stack.
Wasn't
Both
it?
sides had chances as well. It could have gone either way.
Oh, well,
But
Leeds
yeah,
definitely didn't deserve to lose.
no.
That's clear as day from what I've heard from people who were at the game, statistics, even watching bits of the highlights and stuff. Yeah, Leeds would have not deserved to get beat had that, Villa had ended up getting a late winner and stuff. It's actually, you mentioned about late goals. I mean, it's second home game in a row for Villa. Late goal from a set piece. Obviously, there was a late winner against Brighton. Tammy Abraham does very well to fire the ball over Dominic Calvert-Lewin's head for the equaliser. Esri Konsa assist, which was notable because he also got DEFCON. So Esri Konsa with a bit of return, not probably how people who had gone there would have been, well, I hope he keeps a clean sheet and gets me a 6-pointer. No, he's actually done a little bit better for you. So with an assist and a DEFCON, it's actually a 7-pointer. And I think Villa obviously continue to maintain a little bit of interest for people because it's Wolves this week, although Wolves are looking no mugs at the moment.
Yep.
And then obviously West Ham in 31. If you are continuing further, Forest away, Sunderland at home, there obviously could be a double there. Tottenham and Burnley 35-36 as well for those who use wildcard. Good run of fixtures. Only kind of Man United away game week 30 looks a bit ugly, which is why for me, Morgan Rogers at the moment, there's not enough reason for me to move on, although it looked like a quieter day for him at the weekend. So Martinez, Cash, Konsa, Rogers, all okay if people want to have a look, but they're definitely not at the best. They're struggling a little bit in terms of bodies at the moment. I know most Villa fans probably weren't happy that Leon Bailey played rather than Jadon Sancho. Abraham and Watkins are going to nick enough of their minutes, I think, to not be particularly interested. And obviously, this is the last this weekend, and obviously next midweek are the last ones before the European games start up.
Yep.
The good news for Villa is across 28, 29. Obviously, they've got decent space and they've got the best space in between the two game weeks. So they play Friday and then Wednesday. So you shouldn't expect too much from a rotation perspective. And obviously, as they're out the FA Cup, then they've got a free week before their first European game. Once we hit 30, 31, might be little concerns, but I don't think Villa rotation will be too much of a problem till probably the other side of the March internationals. Leeds, Suj, I've got so little concern about. They're not even on my radar for relegation. I mean that honestly.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. I mean, they just haven't been losing. They even when they're picking up points here and there. But James, it's still only 6 points. So
I know, but look at the home games they've got left
yeah,
after
absolutely. I'm
City.
with you. I think they're definitely. I mean, somebody asked you on an Ask James stream, I'm sure, what would you give as the percentage of probability for the teams getting relegated? I think you were like West Ham 50, 25 for Forest, 20 for Tottenham, and then into single digits for the likes of Leeds and Brighton. And I agree with you. I think that they are single digits. You're talking 3, 4, 5%, but it's only 6 points. So they lose their next game, West Ham win, and then it's a game in it. It's still a little bit nervy. However,
I don't think
I
it
agree
is,
with you.
man. Look at them games they've got left. After City, they've got the best running of any side from 29 till the end. Sunderland, Brentford, Wolves, Burnley, Brighton at home. They've still got to go to Tottenham and West Ham, by the way. And also Bournemouth and Crystal Palace not going to make them shit themselves either. So after
Yeah,
City,
sure.
they've got
But when
they've got
when you're down
United
there,
away, Brentford at home is what the only two in the top half. I
when you're
think
down
maybe
there,
Bournemouth.
we'll be all right is the worst thing. It's like you just can't be complacent. But
They will be fine.
based on the way they're performing, like the effort levels and the intensity, I don't think they are being complacent. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you with just that one caveat.
I
It's only
I,
six
I,
points
also,
still.
I hear you, but I just cannot foresee that they're not going to pick up enough points. I wouldn't be shocked, for context, if they ended up finishing like 12th, 13th or something like that. Not in
But
the
it's still pretty tight
slightest.
down there. It's still pretty tight down there.
Yeah, I mean, they're only, what, 6, 7 points off top half or something. I'm not
Yep.
suggesting they're going to do that, but I think they'll become. That also means they can take, I think, a little bit of a swing at Manchester City without fear. I don't think Leeds United fans are. They might be a little bit, but I don't think they are too concerned. I think they know their team has played quite well now for basically 3 months and
Hmm.
is very capable with a big atmosphere at Ellen Road. Their home record's good anyway. That worst case, they'll pick up results at home. And I think you should be aware that obviously once we get beyond the City game, next week people are going to go, Leeds United. Oh, Brentford at home in the blank is not the worst fixture as well because it's at Ellen Road. So Darlow is obviously still playing at the moment, but the warning as per Ed Salinger on COTC last week was, look, if he throws one in at some point, it might change. But at the moment, he's going to stay in goal. Goodmanson came off at half time at the weekend. We think that was illness. So I know a few people have been looking at him because he's up 3.8, isn't he? So we think he'll be okay. That's the reason why he came off, is our understanding. Stack, I mean, not only did he score, Serge, 21 DEFCONs. Oh, that's Ampadu, sorry. 11 DEFCONs, so just short. But he's very, very capable of picking them up. I think
Yep.
he's probably the best mid at sub 5 million if you are looking for a DEFCON player. And I think Calvert Lewin is potentially going to be popular as well. Just think of the context this week as well. Let's say St. Amp to Haaland, and people I think they're selling him anyway. Haaland to Calvert Lewin next week, and then people can look at Mo because he hasn't scored for 9 games and that can't continue forever, that sort of thing. So I think there's a number of Leeds players will be quite interesting and will be on people's radar from next week, particularly those who've already used the wild card. Someone like Goodmanson is going to carry you great. And also remember, as we'd said on the chip strategy pod, whether they double or not in 33, and they would need Bournemouth, they need to get to an FA Cup semi themselves for that to be a possibility. But you do have Wolves at home in 33. So if you're, I bench boost with Goodmanson at home to Wolves, I'll bench boost with Calvert Lewin at home to Wolves, there's worse things that happen in your life
Yep.
than that.
Yep.
So
Agreed.
Leeds right on radar, I think, after this week, and it's another very good point for them. They didn't let out a place against the side that's been the third best team in the league this season.
Yeah. No, they've been good, particularly at home as well. So yeah, um, can't say I'm happy about it because I want more teams to get dragged in than
It's
not.
West
But
Ham, Forest, Tottenham now. That's it. I would completely rule Leeds out. They're going to
Do you
be
know? Do you
absolutely
know?
fine.
Do you know what I really was hoping you'd
I
say?
hope I'm wrong, and I hope there's nothing against them. But yeah, drag it. But I can't say it. They're going
Do
to
you
be
know what?
fine.
Do you know what I was thinking yesterday? I'm hoping that you turn around and say that it's West Ham Forest because you guys are really good at coming third in a two-horse race. Brentford, Brighton, James. Brighton 3 points further ahead of Leeds now on 34 points. Brentford probably disappointed they didn't get anything out of this game. They've had a habit this season of creating chances. I mean, they had three big chances in this game and then not being able to put them away. And I remember the Chelsea game, for example, they had so many chances in that as well. And then you come away from it, you think we didn't even get on the score sheet. So, mm,
Great result for Brighton and much needed.
well, they really did because of just the momentum was against them, wasn't it?
Had they lost this and then not beaten Nottingham Forest this coming weekend, I think you'd have been concerned for them.
Yeah.
I think again it was a more physical and stronger Brighton side than sort of the one that the selection against Palace was weird. They were unlucky at Villa, as I said to you, and they've obviously started this game pretty well. Obviously, Diego Gomez gets the first after a brilliant effort from Kadioglu. Danny Welbeck got the second after Nathan Collins, where's he been? Finally returned and tried to backheel the ball inside his own 6 yard box. Never advisable, unfortunately. Collins came on as a substitute. So Brighton, I think, should be all right there now. If they did beat Forest this weekend, what does that put them on, 37 or something? You're on mute, Suj, so we can't hear what you're saying.
My apologies. They're on 34 right now, so that gets them. That's 9 points clear of West Ham. West Ham obviously go to Liverpool this weekend. You can't expect us to get anything out of that. So they could end up 12 points clear, which is more than enough.
Yeah, I think with Brighton and Palace now with their results at the weekend, like I look at them and think, oh, they're not that far away, but I think the distance from them to you is probably a bit too big
Yeah,
for you, I
yeah,
think.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's what you need to measure from.
Despite the fact it's Forest at home next, and we'll talk about Forest, they were really unlucky themselves yesterday. I don't think you're looking at Brighton assets at this moment. It probably wants to be an awareness that their 32 and 33 fixtures, despite both being away from home, are pretty good. Burnley and Tottenham away. Obviously, again, if Chelsea got to an FA Cup semi, every chance that becomes a double for Brighton in 33. So I can foresee a scenario where Verbruggen's Van Hex might become quite interesting around about that point. The offensive ones, no interest. I know Danny Welbeck's had a decent season, but I wouldn't be confident in playing games in quick succession, particularly.
No,
So,
agreed.
great win for them, but I wouldn't be looking. Brentford, this was
You
kind
do
of
you
the
still own
start of the run.
Thiago?
Yeah.
Yeah, you still got him. So he's set there ready. I've
Do,
seen a lot
do,
of people talking about getting to Igor
do you
Thiago
remember
this
when
week.
I told you weeks ago not to buy him? And people were,
Mm.
well, you do. It wasn't wrong, was it?
No, I mean he hasn't been returning, but now if people were buying him now, you wouldn't be against it, would you?
I would say, oh no, not at all. Because I mean, look, ultimately, it's Burnley Wolves in two of the next three, right? So, yes, those sides have looked okay recently, but is there whole potential in there? Yeah, if people want to buy it, it's fine. And I guess Joao Pedro owners, despite his outstanding form, will be considering that sort of move. I'm not going to give anyone a particular reason to put them off. I'm a fixture head. Ultimately, Thiago's playing Burnley, Joao Pedro's playing Arsenal. If people want to make that move, that's fine. I also think, though, Joao Pedro has been in outstanding form. If people do want to hold, and Arsenal haven't kept a clean sheet for a few weeks, by all means do so. If it were me, I'd be making the move. But also, I regret not going that Thiago to Joao Pedro move at the start because I'd looked at that point of going Joao Pedro for the 4 weeks and back
And then
now.
going back again, hokey coking, yeah.
And it was trying to work out if that's worth 2 free transfers because I knew inevitably if I made the move at the start of the Chelsea run, so for me, that would have been when they played yourselves. And he obviously went running from Adama Traore. If I went at that point, how many points did I need Joao Pedro to get over the top of Thiago to make those 2 free transfers worth it? Now, of course, hindsight
He's
should have
done
been
that.
done, of course, well, comfortably. So there's a little bit of regret on that, but I didn't like the fact that I knew that that was 2 free transfers and I could afford to do it if I had no injuries on the run. I have been lucky in the sense I've had no injuries on the run. Yeah, if I could turn back the clock, I definitely would have made that move, but it wouldn't stop me wanting to still make the same move now for Thiago.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
if people want
yeah.
to go there, it's fine. Sade came on at half time, but I know there was quite a bit of debate going into this about Sade versus Utara.
Dago, yeah.
And I was just a bit concerned with Sade. It was like Lewis Potter's been doing all right. They've had some really good results recently. Does it get rewarded in the same way Vandenberg and Ajer had been getting rewarded rather than playing over Collins? I would imagine that Sade probably will come back into the lineup for the Burnley game, but you could only buy Utara, I think, of the two at this moment in time. If people want to go Dango, I won't put them off. I know there's a few people have been looking at his minutes from this time last year because I think Ramadan is either starting or started.
It's started. It's
and
been
he's obviously
4 or 5 days now.
practicing.
Yeah.
But last year, obviously, he was at Bournemouth. And if you remember, he wasn't really first choice at Bournemouth when everyone was fit. Do you remember last year he got in the team and he scored like the hat trick, I think, against Nottingham Forest and stuff?
Was he playing up top? Was that when everyone else
he's
was there?
OOP, he's up front.
Yeah.
He was like from nowhere, he became a very interesting asset. Then he came back out the team, but ultimately did get players back fit at the same time as well. So I don't doubt that Dango Ouattara is part of Brentford's first 11. If you want to go and buy him, I'm totally cool with that. I think defensively, it's probably got to be avoided. So Hickey played at right back because Coyote had a minor problem. He obviously then got a problem. So Collins has ended up coming into the game. Obviously, he's fucked up on the second Brighton goal. So what does that mean now for Vandenberg, Collins and Ajer once Coyote's back? Just avoid it. Truthfully, if you probably wanted a Brentford one defensively at the moment, say you was on wild card, I think by default you'd go Kelleher at the moment if you were under that sort of circumstance.
I think you mentioned on the weekend that you'd go for Bruggen Kelleher as a pairing, maybe.
Yes, because I would have looked at that last week to go, if I was wildcarding last week, to go them two to bench boost against Forest and Burnley with those two keepers now. So for me, who's just had the return off for Bruggen, I'm obviously looking at this week and going Forest at home. It's all right. I don't need to force a goalkeeper transfer. And generally speaking, I know a few will have gone Kelleher and it's fine, but I do think that we should probably just acknowledge this as a life lesson with goalkeepers. Don't bother. Unless it's like to change for a premium one, be like, oh, I'm going Ray or I'm going Allison or whatever, or at least if you're investing in a big side. Otherwise, consistency. Remember the Jordan Pickford one a few years ago?
Yeah,
Like he didn't return for like 10 weeks.
Years, all the time.
Everyone sold him and it was like he went off like highest scoring keeper over the following 10 game weeks or something. It's just generally speaking, if you're swapping between 4.5 goalkeepers and stuff like, it's just not worth it. And I look up for Bruggen and Dubravka's fixtures after this week and go, oh, like I'm probably going to play Dubravka at Everton in 29. Oh shit! Oh, I could go Kelleher away to Bournemouth. Is it significantly better, or Petrovic in the same fixture? It's not worth it. I'm better off using transfers in different areas of my team than that.
The best advice I can give listeners on goalkeepers is just own whoever I don't, because I never pick good goalkeepers. So if I own them, then
just remind us, who is it?
At the moment, Sanchez
and
Dubravka.
Oh, just looking. So 29, you'll play Sanchez away to Villa, won't you? Rather than
more
Dubravka.
than likely.
Yeah, I can. All right then. Cool. Continue.
Okay.
Next
game.
Good.
Well,
Segue.
talking about Dubravka, talking about Joao Pedro, Chelsea 1, Burnley 1. I thought Chelsea would steamroll at this. And they could have, should have. They were really good in the first half, I thought, from what I could see, and have ended up late conceding. Liam Rosenior throwing whoever it was that wasn't doing the marking under the bus without naming him. Andre Santos?
Yeah, I think so. What's interesting about that as well is actually in the build up to the corner, Andre Santos basically gets a tackle/block in to put it out for a corner, and he kind of gives a fist pump to the crowd, and they're like, yeah, great. I reckon he's still thinking about it when the corner's coming over.
Okay,
Let Fleming go completely. It's the only, he didn't want to name the player, but having watched it back from a few different angles, it's the only logical explanation is that unfortunately is Andre Santos lets him go. It's worth saying he's playing quite well for them for bits I've seen recently. He's establishing himself as, let's say part of Chelsea's best 13, 14 players or so. Romeo Lavia, by the way, played for the under 21s on Friday, and they've been really careful with him, trying to build him up. So he might be back soon. He's a top talent. When the Joao Pedro alert came through after like 4 minutes, I'm in trouble here this week.
Hmm.
Because I think there'll definitely be people captain Joao Pedro, and they'll be against others probably pretty happy with the 7 point return, wishing it was more, but happy that he at least got something. And there's obviously a few would have gone Parma as well. When I saw Chelsea 1-0 up in 4 minutes, I did think, oh, they're going to smash the living daylights out of them. But they didn't. They
No,
didn't take advantage of it. Wesley Fofana can have no complaints about the 2 yellow cards that leads to the red card. And then obviously the momentum swings and it's only 1-0 and Burnley have got half a chance, right? And in fact, Burnley could have won the game as well from Strand Larsen header from another corner. And do you know what? I did think about that last night. Chelsea's defending of those corners. I'm sending Timber. If Timber was to score this weekend, is what it is. Part of the decision with that, I did think as well. That I did think
Brun Larson. You got me confused there when you said Strand Larson.
Sorry, Brun Larson. You're quite correct.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, only because we had Strand Larson in our differential team that we do with the Patriots.
Part I was thinking with Timber was there's a chance now that maybe doesn't play Sunday Chelsea and Wednesday Brighton and stuff as well. So it's like, okay, and then he blanks a couple after. Okay, I can acknowledge it. But yeah, be careful of that because they look so vulnerable in set pieces.
And you mentioned it, like they've been
Arsenal
scoring
next.
in away games all the time as well.
So Chelsea, obviously now you don't buy. That's very clear. The end of this brilliant 4 game run has ended. And those who went Parma, I think you should be pretty happy. Those who've been on Joao Pedro will be absolutely delighted. I think if you're on Parma, do you move Suj? I guess part of the where to.
I was going to say exactly that. Where to? You're not buying Saka. You're not buying Mo Salah, or are you? Like, what are you going to be doing with the money?
One it would have been
Bruno
is
Fernandes.
Verts and spread.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about West Ham in a second, who Liverpool have got coming up next. And I know West Ham are in the
it's the run of all the games, and not necessarily. It's not just an attack West Ham.
But do you want to
Wolves and Tottenham afterwards?
It, I suppose is the question. Do you want to force it now?
I would say that those who went Palmer were probably looking at going at Verts this week. Would have probably the timing of that's right. You think of the build up fixtures you'd have had the Chelsea 4 fixtures they've just had, and then look at Liverpool's next 4 as well, and you go, well, what? If you're punting for fixtures, etc., go for it with a couple of differentials. I think most have clocked on to one in Verts.
It is at Anfield this weekend, so yeah, that's a good shout.
Even if you've wildcarded as well, the run's really good up to like 34 basically as well. So you're covered with Liverpool players moving forward. Joao Pedro had said, where I sit in there with him, I'd strongly be looking at Thiago or Ekiteke as alternatives at this moment. But I understand if people want to hold, because I think he has established himself without any doubt as the regular number 9. You may want a bit of consciousness of obviously Champions League coming around. And
is he scored in every game since Rossini has come in? I think he was like 6 and 6 or 6 and 7, something like that.
No, I don't think not scored. I mean, he had the 2 assists for the 2 penalties, one at Wolves, didn't he?
Okay,
But it is 5 goals in 5 games, and there are 5 assists in there as well. So 10, in 6 games, 10 attacking returns in the 6 games since Rossini took over.
Come in. So he's clearly getting a tune out of him.
And data over the last 2, by the way, is really good. 2.25 XG across those 2 home games against Burnley and Leeds. Of course, now there is a tougher run of fixtures. I just have a note as well about game week 30, and you do want a consciousness about this, not just for Chelsea, but a number of teams. If you look at Chelsea's fixtures coming up, I think Newcastle at home in 30 still looks pretty good. You think, 30's all right. I agree. That's going to be a really awkward week for anyone who has the Wednesday before and the Tuesday afterwards in the Champions League. And there is a chance, by the way, it's basically a 50-50, that Chelsea will play Newcastle 3 times in a week. Because they could meet in the Champions League and have the league game in the middle. And under that sort of circumstance, you think, well, do we look at rotation even for both teams in the league fixture? In 30, maybe? Could be. So I think Chalobah's finds a hold, particularly obviously for those heading towards 31. Everton away is not terrible. There's been centre-backs of hold at the Hilly Dick this season as well. Sanchez, I just leave it. So it's not worth.
Yeah, I've got no desire to want to force it right now. I mean, this weekend, if I didn't want to go against the 2 teams against each other, I'd just play Alderete, if I'm honest with you, and bench Chalobah. but it doesn't make sense. He's going to get a DEFCON this weekend. I do feel like
Is he against
Chalobah's.
Arsenal? Wouldn't guarantee it.
I do think so.
I mean, you would assume at this stage that Gyökeres will now play again, and that
Yep.
I just think psychologically Arsenal are more comfortable going direct if he's playing. That by consequence can help the centre backs.
Well, I'm just looking
Um,
at your players yesterday. Bissouma 20 DEFCONs,
yeah,
Dragashin 18, Papsar 16, Joao Pedro 14, Van de Ven 9.
yeah. I mean, Dragishin 18, but I think Gyökeres bullied him 18 times on top of that as well. So
Just saying, but if Arsenal are in good form, but then I suppose they won't be able to dominate the ball as much as they did against you, maybe.
mm,
I'm not sure.
no, but judging by the two semi-finals out of each other, I'd expect Arsenal to have the most of it until they're winning. If they're then winning, they probably play a little bit more on the counter attack and stuff. Yeah. There's cases out on fixtures you potentially move Chelsea players on. Burnley, despite a few good fixtures, I don't think it particularly look in Brentford at home, Bournemouth at home, they're playing the blank, Fulham away. So Dubravka maybe is still fine as backup goalkeeper. Notable, obviously, it was James Ward-Prowse's corner for Zian Fleming's goal. He may see some increased minutes, but you're not going to go looking at that at 5.6, not for a moment. And Fleming's position in the team could obviously change at any point as well. So, yeah, you're not looking at Burnley. But we should definitely give them credit for the fact there's a number of games against more high-profile opponents that they've now not lost to. So they
Yep.
drew at Anfield as well. Manchester
Yep.
United at home, they were quite fortuitous that night. Tottenham at home, if you want to include established club or whatever. So in some of the bigger games, they've done all right, but they're still going to
Yep.
go. There's too much to do.
Alrighty, let's talk about West Ham nil, Bournemouth nil. A game that surprisingly ended nil. Like it didn't feel like there was lack of entertainment or lack of chances in this game as a ball draw 0-0. West Ham ended up with a monster XG of 3.27. But you and I had spoken about this off air. Didn't feel like it would have been a fair result for West Ham to win like 3-0 or
I don't.
3-1.
No, no,
But we
no,
did
no.
have we had the better and more chances in the end, but yeah, it's frustrating from a West Ham point of view. Like if you think about defensively, the amount of goals we were conceding in the early part of the season, we've now kept 3 clean sheets in 4, including the FA Cup. And the one game we didn't keep a clean sheet to was Benjamin Sesko in the 96th minute. So 1 goal over 4 games since Disasai has come in, and we've had Paco Jimenez in. I think defensively been doing a lot better. West Ham under the radar, just struggled to get over the line in terms of scoring.
Much stronger defensively. I quite agree. I think that Disasai and Mavropanos partnership's going quite well at the moment. The asset to buy, of course, would be Diouf if people did want to look at it, 4.0. But I think this is probably more of a game week 32 conversation, probably
Yeah.
subject to. I mean, if West Ham had a double in 33 because you got to the cup semi, I think that 4 million would be really popular.
Yeah, there's 4 tough games coming up now: Liverpool, Fulham, City, and Villa. They are all free swings, right? Villa. What's the Villa European situation around that game week 31? Will they have European
So
football
they
in
would
that
have
fixture?
second leg home on the Thursday before playing yourselves on the Sunday
Lovely.
afternoon.
So I wouldn't mind that. I think Anfield away and Man City at home, they're free swings now. We've got to just treat them like that because they're going to be difficult games. But if we can be defensively stubborn like we've shown, then there's still a chance. I wouldn't be chasing any West Ham assets. If you're on Jared Bowen like me, I think it's an easy move to Thiago this week. I think I'll be getting that done.
I
Yeah,
would be very surprised, Suj, if you lost all 4 of them games. Very surprised. Despite what
including the
they
Fulham
are,
game. Yeah,
Liverpool, Fulham, Villa away, and City at home. I don't think it's beyond you to get something at Liverpool. We just mentioned Burnley drew at Anfield, right? In fact, Liverpool against, some of the poorer sides in this league this year have actually struggled. They beat Wolves 2-1. Burnley was 1-1. Forest went there and won 3-0. Leeds drew 0-0 there. The goal disallowed. Could have maybe even won it. So Liverpool have struggled in a lot of these games. I'll be asking Dan about that on COTCs. It's not beyond you to get something at Anfield at the weekend. And I think you're playing all right, Suj.
it's been good, decent. A few opportunities. Yeah, the game week 31 is really big because that's when you play Nottingham Forest. So if we're in and around touching distance at that point, then it's all to play for. If we've drifted 6-7 points by then that's going to be really frustrating when we get to that particular game week. But yeah, nothing from West Ham that I would particularly consider from a fantasy point of view, but good to see some momentum and consistency and some fight within. I'd be, if you owned any assets, where's the ownership, Bowen? I'd be moving that on to the likes of a Thiago right now because it's quite an easy move. Bournemouth, on the other hand, I mean, the one that's been getting interest is Rayan, where people's names being mentioned. And from what I saw at the weekend, there was nothing to put me off going there. I thought he looked strong, direct, bit of end product, could have scored easily with that run that he had. At his price, 5.6. Yeah, I think for this run coming up, decent shout, right?
Can I just say, and we'll talk about rank, and I did watch him as I promised I would watch him very closely at the weekend. Somerville, for me, along with the Dangos and Rayan, should be in this conversation. And I tell you why, particularly
Now
as well, is
or 32.
do you know what? It sounds ridiculous, but I don't hate it. These games that you've got, these Liverpool, Fulham, Villa away, and then City at home, they're all probably going to be counter games for you, mate.
I was going to, there's the exact words, counter
He's
attack.
so explosive. The thing is, as well, obviously, I'm watching you with a different lens at the moment, right? I'm sorry, I'm sure it's the same the other way around. Watching you think,
Relegation
lose,
battle,
right?
Yeah,
Obviously,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
I need
of course.
I needed a shower after this game, and the main reason for that was Somerville.
Sweating.
And do you know what? That I think speaks volumes. It's not as a negative on Bowen, by the way, but when Somerville got on it, I was like, he could tear these on his own.
He had a few good chances, to be honest with you. You're right.
And he obviously was in a bit of form. It's over XGI of over 1 in the game at the weekend as well. Do you know what? That would sound mad. And would I go and buy Somerville rather than Rayan this way? I couldn't look at the fixtures and do
over
it
the
that
next
way.
4, not even just this
But
week,
I
over the
tell
next
you
4,
what,
James.
If I owned him, I don't think I'd sell him.
Yeah.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he does well over these next few games. And he'll be very popular again on that run. If you land with that FA Cup semi, I think it'd be really popular. You're not going to chop about, oh, we're going to rest people for the FA Cup semi. You can't, can you? Right?
No.
I'd be looking at him and going, well, that's a great 7th, 8th attacker at 5.7. Rayan, what have they bought there?
Semenyo Mark 2, isn't it? He's not quite the same player, but he's a good replacement. Like he fits ticks a lot of the same boxes.
There's a lot of rawness in him, and there's times I'm watching him, I'm thinking, go. Like he gave a pass away, really bad pass, quite towards the end of the game. We just played a pass inside, and it was a disgraceful pass. But that with that run, do you know what's amazing about that? He never got into a sprint. He was like 3/4 pace all the way. And I was thinking, if when you develop, you can turn that into 100% speed and control, wow. Wow. What a potential player they've got there. And the thing is, he doesn't look 19.
He's monster. He's big.
He's built, and he carries himself well. Technique looks really nice. The first thing he did in the game, Suj, was the first time he got the ball on the right, he cut inside. It wasn't the best effort, but it was on target, 25 yards out, boom, the go. But he links well. He's not overly flashy. He's not like a lollipop player and stuff. But if he learns to manage his timing into the box, remember we scored at Everton, I went, oh, if he's getting in on the back post. There was the one when Tavernier had the break towards the end, and he's like, can you make up the ground? He might have been fatigued. It was quite late in the game. But you think you've got to be there, mate, and your sort of goals Salah would get and stuff like that. If he can sort out his timing and also a better, this is not a criticism, a better understanding of when to use his acceleration properly, he'll just burn people alive. That's a super, super talent. Whether it's quite right for fantasy, I'm not sure. But if when he had that run and he's obviously hit the outside of the post, if that goes in, we're all sitting here going, right, I need to deal with that. So find margins. He's definitely capable of going off in these games. If people want to punt him, I don't mind. The caution on that would be Marcus Tavernier back. Now, I don't think that's a direct impact for Rayan. And what should be positive for Rayan is obviously he's playing the full game there, right? Despite Brooks has come on, Tavernier's come on, they've made changes, and he stayed out there. That's a positive sign.
He's less than 2% still around. So it's not like desperation where everybody's going to be able to get there or get to him. So you got a bit
No,
of
but if
breathing
you want
room.
to
But
do it, it does feel
now's
like,
the time. Yeah,
yeah, either
that's the
this
time.
week or the week gone. I think general advice was try and wait one more, maybe. If you have gone early, you're obviously unlucky not to get the return at the weekend. I'm sure you're sitting there feeling quite confident about what's to come. He's not out of thinking for me this week, but it does still have a punt element to it. One of the little concerns I have, and this is 3D chess stuff here, they go to Arsenal in 32, and I've got Harry Wilson going to Liverpool. If dead end 31 ends up becoming dead end 32, I'm not going to like that.
Yep.
And that's probably a weird way to look at it. When I compare that against Dango, Everton at home, I know Everton's away form's been decent. He just feels a lot better. I still got Dango against Everton. I'll bench Wilson.
Who's gonna score more points in between though?
Well, ultimately, that should be the more important factor. I would say that there's every chance that it's still Dango.
With Rayan as well, compared you mentioned chucking in a name like Harry Wilson in there. I feel like Harry Wilson you can bench in certain games. I don't know if you'll ever feel happy benching Rayan as your eighth
Oh, well,
attacker.
way to Arsenal in 32, I would, yeah. But
Yeah, maybe
I'd
that.
play him in the next four
Mm,
quite comfortably.
yeah.
I wouldn't be benching him for Sunderland, Brentford at home, or Burnley away. I'd bench someone else. It wouldn't be him. So definitely, if you invested, you play him. Great little asset. I'm aware of Tavernier as well. I think we know that Marcus Tavernier was looking like a real good potential asset. I would imagine that if not this weekend, he'll be back in the team afterwards. We think he'll be on pens now as well. We know he's on set pieces, got great delivery into the box from either side. Wherever he plays, he can be a threat, good long range distance shooter. So Tavernier obviously is back now, and that's one a lot of people had gone to and wanted to, and might want to just remember that because although it might not be as flashy as Rayan, it might have a higher floor in terms of its consistency. But yeah, he's a very interesting player. Another return for Hill and Senesi. No def cons this way. Just a note on Senesi. He got up in price last night, Suj. I think no, I don't think. Oh, yeah, up to
Mm,
4.9. I think
did
that's
he? I
right.
know. I thought when I saw him get booked, I was like, "Oh, we're right here. He's not going to go up in price because of the booking and the
Just
lack of."
before. Just
Oh,
before I bought Van Dijk at 1 o'clock in the morning, I thought, oh, it's that sort of time where we should be looking at yellow cards again. So remember, 10 yellow cards now equals a 2 match ban. That's if those yellow cards are accumulated before team's 32nd match of the season. So that will be game week 32 for everybody, except for Arsenal, and Wolves will be 1 week more. So I had a look through the list. There's nothing there concerning other than for Tottenham fans and Christian Romero once he's back available, which will be in game week 30, because you wouldn't rule that prick out from getting booked twice in 3 weeks, would you? That's probably a probability.
no.
That'd be great if he's suspended for Brighton and Wolves, wouldn't it? Well done, Christian. I miss you, mate, having watched Radu. The only one that's really is a concern, though, I think, when I looked through the list, I thought, oh, there's not many concerns there. Senesi's on 8 now.
Right.
And how heartbroken are you if he gets booked into the next three and misses the blank?
Yeah.
Now, it's not likely. He's obviously running at a rate of one yellow card per every three and a bit, but it doesn't mean it's not possible that he would get, say, 2 and 3, right? So if you're going now, with that in mind, it's definitely James Hill. And it's not a reason really to be buying Senesi over Hill at this point anyway. I see no reason now why this is going to change. With old Diakite is going to come back. I don't see it. I think Iriola had been looking for a solution for him for a long time. My concern in January was, will they buy? We're long past that. He's getting consistent returns. Truthfully, despite the fact they concede a shitload of goals, that's probably the best 4.0 in the game at the moment.
Okay.
The only one I argue against at this moment in time would be Goodmanson of Leeds from 29.
Cool. James, let's talk about Man City 2, Newcastle 1. I mean, Man City ended up with five big chances in this game. Not a monster XG, but it did rack up in the big chances. Though Newcastle on the counter in the first half did have a few chances that they looked threatening.
So obviously, having watched you, I needed a shower. And then I watched Man City and I needed another bloody shower afterwards, right? By the way, I didn't have two showers, just for clarity. But
There's nothing wrong with having two showers, mate.
I hate the way they're playing second halves of football matches at the moment. I really hate it. I don't like it at all. They're
Well, we got to play him in a few weeks,
just
so
asking for trouble. Who's got you have?
yeah, in a few weeks, three
Uh
weeks, they'll probably
yeah.
be
It's the
four up at half time.
yeah, you might be, yeah.
No, we
They
won't be.
I'm not convinced about City at all. I think they made a bit of a show of it at the end. You know, we dug in, we got it, and it's good. It's good for show and stuff. But even in the first half, I mean, you would if you were a City fan, I think you were worried about Gordon in behind a lot. So look, it's a decent result for City. I think when you look at their fixtures, say versus Arsenal for the rest of the season now, and obviously it has tightened up quite significantly. It's interesting that obviously they play each other in 33, and City have Villa at home in 38. Other than that, the only teams from the top six that the two have got to both play Chelsea. Arsenal's this week, and then City go to Chelsea in 32. They must both be looking at it now. He's got that feel. Oh, Arsenal dropped points recently. He's got that feel now of, oh, it's tightened up, it's close enough. Win, 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 win. That's what both teams would be very much thinking now. I still don't have concerns about Haaland. I know that he's not justifying the money. Where you going? I didn't really mention it. Mo ain't scored for 9 league games. Where are we going? I don't see the point. I do think there's a case to say take him on captaincy this week. It's not an absolute certainty for me because I think like with Fernandes at home to Palace or a Liverpool player at home to yourselves, even Thiago away to Burnley, maybe there are alternatives that could definitely be looked at for captaincy this week. And it doesn't feel like a Haaland game to me, I must acknowledge. But then I also acknowledge that Arsenal went there and won 4-0 a few weeks ago. So, and I think Haaland, I want to say he scored twice on his one previous game there. I think that's right. Otherwise, not chasing City. Do you chase Nico O'Reilly? I mean, you thinking of doing it, Suj?
No. Because it'd be so pep to just rest him now. Like, I don't think that previous good performances just is any way of keeping yourself safe in that team.
Thing is, though, when you look at the last couple of games, he's not, like I said, when he played at Newcastle in midfield, he played deep line, didn't really get involved. Obviously, fullback is where we got interested in him in the first place. We were like, oh, he's getting some really advanced positions. Doku's tucking into left 10 positions, so he's able to really get far forward. That, in that system, with that personnel, he's the box crasher. So, like, there is whole capability there. Would I buy him if I didn't own him for the sake of the next 3 weeks, knowing that it is still likely they're blanking 31? But what happens if you sit in 30 and it's like, oh shit, it's back on? They are playing Palace in 31 because they've lost to Newcastle, and that's where the rearrangements for FA Cup quarter final. Do you then look at O'Reilly as a solution for you to say an Arsenal defender?
Only if that fixture in 31 is going ahead. When will we know, do you think?
So obviously we've got 28 at the weekend and 29 midweek fixtures, then the FA Cup 5th round, then the draw. Like I said, I think if it was to go into the FA Cup quarter final weekend, if City lost to Newcastle, I think it would be arranged that week before game week 30 deadline. I think if then it wasn't, I will probably change the projection for it to go in 31 if they lose to Newcastle. But if it hasn't been arranged that week, I'll then change it back. Right. That's probably the way I will treat it at the moment.
See, I've obviously got a Lacroix problem, right? Lacroix and O'Reilly same price, but I'm just swapping one 31 problem for another 31 problem. So I don't think I would force it to go to O'Reilly.
Yeah. Let me sell it this way for you. It's probably similar for me with Semenyo. But if the eventuality was to happen, then I'm probably buying Semenyo in 30, I think.
Considering
then, it's interesting how it plays me. So what's wrong with Leeds and Forest? I don't disagree particularly. But it's going to give me a headache down the line if they don't play in 31.
But his price, even if you look at, okay, you can't afford Van Dijk. Konate's 0.4 more expensive than Nico O'Reilly. So I couldn't even cheap out on going to the Liverpool defender. Gahey is maybe a safer option if you just wanted a City player. It's still more expensive. I think at 5 million, it's not bad value,
I think
O'Reilly.
though, yeah, but there's a chance here. What you think about this as well is, let's say you invest, okay, and let's say City beat Newcastle in the FA Cup, and then it's blank, it's Chelsea away, and then what if they lost an FA Cup quarter final and it's just Arsenal single? So what you've got Mark Gay for like 3 weeks, it's not
Mm.
worth it.
It's
At
not.
least at least with O'Reilly, you can go, mate, there's a potential big upside here. And it has flipped again. Literally every time Johnny Pringle comes on Clash of Correspondence, it flips from Nunes back to O'Reilly and back again. So I
When's he on
think,
again?
well, I own O'Reilly, so I might not have him back on all season. It won't be before the March international breaks because he's just recently done one with Johnny. But that's it. We did the City Fulham game,
Uh,
and literally at that point, dude, you would not have bought Nico O'Reilly. Bang! Now box crashing 8. You're like, okay. What I would say in conclusion is, I think it sticks for the next couple. I think the West Ham game is dicey because, like I said, particularly if City had, I mean, they could have a schedule that is Wednesday Real Madrid, Saturday West Ham, Tuesday Real Madrid. At that point, I'm probably going to go. I ain't going to take the chance with O'Reilly here. I'm probably going to like move it on now, even before the West Ham game. So I might only own him for another 2 games. And the other thing I would say is, I said this in December, the version we was having then with like Doku into these inverted positions, and that wouldn't be the final version of Manchester City this season. And I don't think this is either. I think after the March international break, there will be something different that Pep deploys for the running. And it might be, particularly if they're still in the Champions League, it might be more a completely more control driven game, I would think, just for the running to suffocate a little bit more because they're quite transitional at the moment. Look at the O'Reilly first goal. There's a brilliant little play by Marmoush to get him in, by the way. I don't think Haaland enjoyed playing with Marmoush and Semenyo. It's gone full circle now. He probably wishes Doku was available.
Doku was back, and he didn't used to enjoy playing with him.
Because
Yeah,
I would say as well, Haaland only assist again. Bloody hell, between Marmoush and Semenyo, the amount of times they didn't put him in.
yeah.
Yeah. And he only had the one real chance right at the end, which he'll be disappointed he didn't score with. For Newcastle, good performance actually. Be pretty happy with that. 'Cause normally they go places like this and actually lose quite limply. And obviously, if you can factor in the Tottenham game, the win at Qarabag, the Aston Villa FA Cup game, their away performances have obviously been much better of late as well. Anthony Gordon has been on my mind a bit, primarily because I somehow managed to not sub him in UCL Fantasy last week. And I know his Premier League record is absolutely atrocious. But I do look at a period here where he'd probably be short term, 3 out the next 4 at home. They're the sort of games where there might be space, maybe less so Sunderland in the one that maybe matters most in 31. Do you think he stays in this 9 position? Because there's a couple of games now we've seen Voltamade playing more like an 8,
Uh,
basically.
7.2 million as a midfielder. If he was in a strange way, if he was a forward, because I've got forward issues with Bowen and Brobby, it'd be more interesting to me than as a midfielder.
Does he need space games for this? And then also you could
Yeah.
say, well, he's had those games in Villa, Tottenham, Man City in the league, and there's only an assist in there against Tottenham.
I'm not sure how to answer that, James. I suppose here's the thing, right? We know that he's a very, very good football player. He's very, very capable.
I
And at
suppose
any
I
time,
suppose I'm
if he was
selling
to
it
go
as
on a run,
well.
it wouldn't surprise you at any time if he was to start doing well, because he's been doing all right in the Champions League, like you alluded to just there. But so it kind of you can't. It doesn't make sense to say no. Don't go near a player of his capability and quality. I don't know. You haven't seen it in the league enough. Um, Newcastle are getting into a bit of a no man's land in the
Three,
league, really,
three
aren't
goals
they?
all season. Are they all penalties
In
as
the
well? I
league,
think.
in the league.
Oh, I know we got 4 in one half in the Champions League last week, but even
Yeah, I
Tottenham
don't
might beat them.
know if they're in a bit of no man's land in the league now.
Sorry, he scored an open play goal at Liverpool, didn't he? So that's what I'm talking about. That's another game that he played up front. It is becoming a more of a recurring theme. Um, and I don't know, should we maybe be easier a chance now that he stays as the OOP9 for Newcastle? You presume he gets rested this midweek as well. So playing Everton and then Manchester United should be absolutely fine. An FA Cup game against City. I imagine what's bothering me a little bit is because Newcastle's league position as well. I wonder if on that path they treat the cup games more important. So take that Chelsea away game in 30, it's the same thing. It's like, imagine they're playing, say, Chelsea over that period. Does Gordon play the Champions League games and then not the league game? Bearing in mind, they'll definitely want him against Sunderland for the big North East derby in 31 as well. I don't know. I have an inkling that he might do quite well, but I think it's probably an overlook. I think.
All right.
And defensively, I think despite good fixtures, probably still the same. It's just not enough consistency there in terms of Defcons and stuff like that at this moment. Burn and Chow both hit it at the weekend, but that's the sort of fixture you would expect them probably to get it in, and you're not going to pick them for that sort of fixture, are you? I don't like. I'm got Malik Chow bust on the bench this week. I'm to Everton. I don't like it because I've done that once already this season, and it bit. I can't leave O'Reilly out though, can I?
I'd play O'Reilly over Chow.
Well, I've got to.
Yeah.
I'm not leaving Gabriel or Van Dijk out instead. And I wouldn't have left Timber out for Chow either. I'll leave Harry
Just think
Wilson
about it
out
as
against
good
Tottenham.
cover.
No, thank
Just
you.
be grateful that you've got the depth there. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's part why I've said I've looked at bench boost as maybe this week.
All right. Let's talk about Palace and Wolves. Palace 1, Wolves 0. I mean, Dean Henderson 16, Mitchell 11, Munoz 9, Maxence Lacroix 0. Well, yeah. The Wolves put up a good fight. I mean, they've been doing all right since Edwards has come in. It took him a few games, I think, to figure out what he wanted to do and what have you. Just a little, all too late, unfortunately, for them.
Yeah, they're for me not playing like the worst team in the league. They're doing fine.
One more point to match Derby's total.
I do think that if teams get ahead, I mean, it sounds weird because Arsenal just cocked it up against them, but most teams who get in front against them should see them off. But while games are level, they're being very, very competitive at this moment. There isn't anything to look at for fantasy. Villa, Liverpool, next couple. Obviously, they're going to blank 31. This is more a case of do you need to deal with Mane's or SARS or stuff like that, I think. But yeah, they can count themselves unlucky. Obviously, Tolu missed penalty. One of 4 players racially abused in the Premier League over the weekend. Unfortunately,
Was he?
Yeah, I don't know if it was. I think most of it was on Instagram. I think.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you meant in the stadiums.
No, not in stadiums.
Sorry, yeah,
online, unfortunately.
Right.
Yeah, that's shit. Krejci, I don't think can have any complaints about the red card. Personally, it's soft getting a second yellow for kicking the ball away. The clue is in the fact that he doesn't put full lever on it. What I mean is he doesn't hump it down the field with 100% power. It's like almost like a 3/4 kick. He knows. He knows the whistle's gone and stuff. He knows what he's doing. He thinks he's going to get away with it, and he doesn't. And you know what? Had that not happened, there's every chance Wolves would have got something out of this game because Palace, I think, have been really low on confidence. Obviously lost their last game to Burnley as well. Evan Gessen scored the winner from a Tyreek Mitchell cross. Palace assets, it probably depends on where you're at because obviously the blank 31, Manchester United away is no longer a particularly good fixture this weekend. But after that,
at the
Tottenham
moment,
Leeds,
they blank in 31.
Yeah.
You've got to work with the information you have. I get it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we do at the moment. Tottenham Leeds, although 29-30. Leeds is at home, so it's fine. And then obviously Newcastle West Ham at home 32-33. So you do want, an awareness. Like a body like Lacroix in 31 might even end up being like something for you, Suj. Like if you got you a 3-pointer, is it worth steaming into like an Anderson or something like that? If he could maybe knock you up a Defcon or something in that game. I don't know. I'd have a bit of reluctance to be steaming off their assets at the moment. But I think people who went SAR will be frustrated. Yep. People who've gone Larson will be looking at, can I get up to like Thiago and stuff? And I guess defensively, you are looking around at others at the moment. Someone like Joachim Anderson is going to appeal. Van Dijk has said if you're on Munoz to Van Dijk, he's now, people were looking at going Munoz, so they're now looking Munoz to Van Dijk maybe as well. Big important result for them because I think they were getting a bit nervous. I thought Oliver Glasner's interview after the game was good. Like many managers, you get a different man when he's won and he's lost, and there was obviously pressure on him. There was a not all, but there was certainly some chance for that he was getting sacked in the morning. during Palace's Conference League game in Bosnia. And he made some comments that didn't help afterwards. His comments yesterday after the game really clarified the scenario and the situation. He was like, yeah, I will give 100% why I'm here. The only thing I was saying was if they want to change, then it's better they get rid of me. But I will give 100% why I'm here.
Yeah.
So I think that was a little bit reassuring. And ultimately, get enough points, get yourself to 40 points. If they can do that over the next 2, 3, go and win that Conference League. It looks a mess now. This could still have a great ending to the season for Crystal Palace.
Let's talk about Forest then with Pereira in now. Liverpool 1, Forest obviously. Forest 0, Liverpool 1. 18 shots for Forest, so it wasn't like they weren't trying to score, but 4
Look at
big
the first
chances
half
for
stats, boss.
Liverpool. Yeah, and obviously Forest are off the back of that great win at Fenerbahce as well. Should you or I be concerned, or are they still well in it and hopefully?
They're the best team of the three. Sorry, they are.
Yeah. All right. Let's hope you
It
do
doesn't
then.
mean they
Come
won't go
third
down. But
until
I'm
it's
telling
right.
you, at this moment in time, Nottingham Forest are the best of the three teams, including West Ham and Tottenham.
Probably got the best defense, right? They're back to that back four that served them so well under Nuno, Aina, Milenkovic, Murillo, and Nico Williams.
What I would say in terms of a difference, though, you've got scorers.
Mm-hmm.
We have scorers as well at the top end. Not enough contributing from midfield. Their problem is scoring goals. And if they go, that's why they'll go. Not being strong enough in terms of the top end of finishing chances, because this is another game where they've dominated in the first half against a good side and not found a net. And I must apologise to Forest fans because I only saw the second half of this game yesterday. But when I was obviously travelling to White Hart Lane and watched the second half in the ground, yeah, I needed another shower when I cheered Liverpool scoring against Nottingham Forest because that felt quite dirty. That was also kind of a low point in my life. It's I just normally should be having this sort of game and cheering the team that's yeah, okay.
That underdog, yeah.
Yeah. It's like this bloke next to me said, "This is dirty, isn't it?" I said, "Yeah, it really is."
97th minute, yeah.
And it was a dirty goal as well. I thought it was offside. Obviously, fine. I guess 5 centimeter tolerance for Liverpool, right? Don't come and attack me. But they had the incident with the disallowed goal just before that, which is correct. McAllister, he does hit McAllister's elbow, and he said it quite. He said after the game, he's like, "He's shit in it," but yeah, he does hit my back and my elbow, so whatever. But Ekitike should score from the bloody header. He's point dodging for me at the moment, but there's no way I'm moving that with the fixtures coming up. I'm still quite happy to own him as it stands.
Yeah, he's one that I'm scared about, and every week when he doesn't return, I'm like, I got away with it, thank God, because he could at any week go off. He's a player with a really high ceiling, isn't he? In any given fixture, you think he could pick you up multiple returns.
The other thing with Forest is obviously they had an outstanding performance and result in Turkey last week as well, winning 3-0 away to Fenerbahce. Is some doing. That's really impressive. And they played really well. They've obviously played well here. They've obviously, I guess Liverpool will have tweaked some bits and they've probably lost a bit of momentum and perhaps a bit of fitness, bearing in mind the trip to Turkey. As the game's gone on, their possession number dips quite a lot from second half to first half. But look at that first half number.
Yeah.
It's very impressive for Nottingham Forest. So I think Forest fans will be disappointed, but should still be quite encouraged by what's happened over the last week or so. Pereira's give them a bit of an uplift. I think they'll play some more attractive football. They've got to find a net. For Liverpool, I think Dave said this best on Slack. He's like, yeah, let's take them points and never speak about this ever again. Because the first half performance by all accounts was not good at all. That said, they have ended up creating some big moments in the second half, which actually was impacted quite a bit by the introduction of Rio and Gamoa, who, if you could have 4 Liverpool spots, maybe I'd look at him at 4.3 because I really think there is a build here to get him minutes. Probably for Gakpo in most people's minds. But he completed more take-ons in 15 minutes than Gakpo and Salah did together in 75.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that's a different kind of threat. Now, Whether he's ready to be doing 90 minutes or even hours in Premier League games and stuff, I don't know enough about the lad, but I know he's got ability, and I think there's a growing call for it. And there are some games coming up you think, well, could maybe do this. And what's interesting about Liverpool at the moment is ordinarily, when we were talking about Chelsea, Newcastle, City, we're saying game week 30 is like is a possible is a big problem because of potential rotation and stuff. What can Liverpool do with that team at the moment? It's not a lot.
Uh, yeah, true. With injuries, I guess. I mean, Szoboszlai's stuck there at right
You're
back. You know,
bringing in Chiesa and Gamoa onto this team to, and Rio and Gamoa has done really well, but that's their impact substitutes at the moment. Is what I'm saying. Right back's been a mess. So
yeah. The
Szoboszlai
rest, the rest of their
and
bench is
Jones have
kids.
switched during the game. They don't have depth at the moment,
No, you're right. They don't. I'm just looking at their bench. I'm like, yeah, these
but
these are kids
that makes them even more interesting for fantasy.
because you're reliant on the minute. You know, the minutes are gonna be
You're
there.
not looking at these games and thinking, "Oh, shit myself about rotation." Now, can I promise you that Ekateke will definitely start at Wolves on a Tuesday night when they've played 3 days earlier against West Ham? No, I can't 100% say that, for example. But at the moment, he probably does. If Ekateke and Isak were both fit, you'd be going, "That's one game each, wouldn't you?"
Yeah.
There's not a lot that they can change. Do they chance them? Oh, we'll play Chiesa up front against Wolves. Don't know. But my point, Ian, is that's just one instance. I don't think there are many instances where you go, Liverpool going to change the team much. That might be a problem for them right at the end. I think it's really important for them with these fixtures coming up that they do quite well because at the end they've got some toughies, right? United away, Villa away, Chelsea at home. They'll hope with the games Chelsea have between now and then and put some big daylight between themselves. Big points. Big points.
Indeed.
Not the
I'm
first
really
time they've won
struggling
late at
to.
Forest.
It's weird psychologically. I'm struggling to buy Liverpool players this week because they're playing us. Van Dijk or whatever. I do think we'll score in that game. So yeah,
I agree with you, by the way.
that's why I'm like, okay, Timber to Van Dijk or finding a way to get Van Dijk seems logical because a lot of people have gone that way. But I don't
I,
want to do it this week,
I
so I
would
might just
not.
avoid.
I would not be
I'm
at all
avoid this week.
surprised if you got something at the weekend. But then it
Yeah, I'm
is
hoping
still Wolves, Tottenham, Brighton afterwards. And if you are
afterwards.
carrying further, Fulham at home, Merseyside derby, which is possibly a double, right? So there's plenty of reasons, whatever your strategy, whatever you're considering at the moment, to be considering Liverpool. As said, Florian Wirtz would have been really, really popular this week. You need info now.
Okay.
You need info. But Arne Slot's comments after the game suggested that he'd probably be all right. He just didn't feel right, so they didn't take a risk with him. That's what it sounds like. So I would imagine he's back for the game at the weekend, but you need that press conference before you can do it. Really, you can't be wasting transfers at this moment.
Alrighty, let's talk about Sunderland 1, Fulham 3, a couple of goals for Raul Jimenez. I suppose Sunderland, now they've lost at home, the floodgates have opened and they keep losing at home. Well, you're playing them at their place soon as well, aren't you?
Oh, don't worry. If they need a
Like if
doctor,
the doctor's come
if
in.
if they lose at home to Brighton in game week 30 and make it three in a row, don't worry. The doctor will see them in game week 30 too. Um, yeah, I'd not seen a lot of this game, but Fulham looked like it's played some nice stuff, even in the first half, and a couple of cracking goals as well. I mean,
Is that
the
who
Wil-
you've got at the weekend? Fulham, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah, okay. Because we've got them straight after you next week, midweek on the Wednesday.
yeah,
So
and I know which one's more likely to get a result.
no,
Um,
it's still not us, even though you say it.
the thing is, Tottenham need to go there and play like a side that's fighting relegation. If this is the truth, if Tottenham go there and try and play, Fulham have got better footballers.
Yeah, yeah. Like you said, they seem like they played all right in this game.
Yeah, I mean that at the moment is working nicely with Sander Berge kind of sitting like a single pivot at the moment. He won't be allowed to go again. That's at his best. If he can be box to box, that's great. Emil Smith Rowe's had some consistent minutes recently, playing quite close to Harry Wilson as well, which I think helps Wilson. And on the left, they've obviously had flyers there, whether it's Chukwueze or Kevin. Or Chukwueze missed out the weekend with an issue. And obviously Kevin went off in this one as well. But now you're bringing Oscar Bob into... So they haven't had many injury issues. They've got decent squad depth at the moment. They'll believe from here that they can potentially challenge for Europe, Fulham. I
Europe.
mean, look at their next four. Tottenham, West Ham, Forest, Burnley. Right, well, it's the team's positioned from 16th to 19th, isn't it? And when
Yep.
they had this before, earlier in the season, what did they do in them fixtures? They went and won them all.
Mm.
Yeah. They won at Tottenham, they won at West Ham, they won at Burnley, they beat Forest at home. Now, to do something like that again, okay, tougher run after that, but they'll feel like they're in competition for European place. And it's definitely not beyond Fulham to take 12 points from those 4 games. So, Leno, if you have a big goalkeeper problem, he's okay. Joachim Anderson is not worth arguing about. If you want a Fulham defender, it is
At
Joachim Anderson.
4.5, he's as good as it gets.
Yeah,
Another DEFCON of the weekend.
it's not worth chancing your arm with Bassi at 0.1 shorter or Kene Tete at the same price. It is not worth chancing your arm. Sessignon is in as a midfielder, so that's a waste of time as well. Wilson, I think probably is the standout one. From all the mids, the Dangos, Rayans and all that, I think that's the one if you don't own. Because I just think his consistency is great. Assist and a DEFCON yesterday. Okay, he'd had 3 blanks before, but it was 10 before that. You're not expecting the world at his price bracket. He's dipped back down to 5.9. If I didn't own Wilson, Rayan, Utara, any of that, I would definitely be buying Harry Wilson. Would be my first choice. So I'm happy that I've got him on board. I also think, by the way, that you would do worse. It's probably overpriced. That Iwobi at 6.3 might do all right in some of these fixtures just because the run of games is really good. If he can break late like he did on that final goal yesterday, but you wouldn't pay him over Wilson. It would have to be like to go with him basically. And I did tell people last week I'd happily hold my hands up and say if I was a Raul Jimenez owner, I'd be considering moving that on because of the threat of Rodrigo Muniz now. Now, ultimately, there's good reason behind that. He played 64 minutes yesterday. So that threat still exists. However, having scored 2 yesterday, there's very little doubt that he will start against Tottenham this weekend. So maybe have this conversation again next week. I wouldn't buy Raul Jimenez at the moment. I always scored twice at Sunderland. That threat from Muniz is too strong. Just even consider the game is on Sunday against Tottenham and then it's Wednesday against West Ham. With Harry Wilson and I'd be very confident in playing twice, Anderson's, etc. No problem. Raul Jimenez, I'd say there's a fair chance that Muniz will start against West Ham, actually. That has to be a possibility.
I don't know if he would start, but he definitely after 60, you could see him getting hooked early, right?
Or that, yeah. Or you're looking at restricted minutes in both games. Yeah, it could be that. You're quite right. It could be similar. 60, 65. He's getting replaced in both games.
I mean, though if it's like yesterday, he scored 2 by that point, so one of them being a penalty.
For Sunderland, Mukeli injury. Don't know the prognosis on that yet, but he's obviously come off really early in the game. Looked like a muscle problem, is what I've heard from the Sunderland guys. So that's potentially on the chopping block for you. And he's obviously been really good for them. Granit Xhaka, importantly, was back in the squad and obviously off the bench. It will make a difference. I don't doubt him being back in the team in the next few. For Sunderland fans who feel like they're still short of 40 points, you've got absolutely no concerns. I can absolutely promise you that. You'll be fine. No problems whatsoever. Just probably a little bit disappointed it's had a dip recently. We should always expect a side like that to probably have a dip at some point, and they've been without their most influential player recently, and I think that's a big factor behind it.
Okay. Let's wrap, James, by talking about Tottenham 1, Arsenal 4. We could go on about, I could drop you some of the stats from the game, but it feels like I'm kicking a man when he's down, but 6 big chances for Arsenal.
Oh, I won't do it, but I'll do it anyway. You.
Nah, but just to discuss the game, but 72% possession in the first half for Arsenal. I think that second half early goal for Gyökeres did help because game state, had it gone on at 1-1 for a bit longer, maybe they'd have got a little bit more nervy. But that second goal for them with Gyökeres being early in the second half, kind of game state then allowed them. And for you guys, it's just, to be honest with you, new manager coming in and wanting to learn a little bit about how you might play. I think this fixture teaches you nothing. Teaches you nothing because, maybe in lineup, he's gone with 3 at the back there playing Paulinho, but then you've got a central midfield 3 of Sarr, Bissouma, Gallagher. It's very, very defensive minded in terms of setup, possibly maybe just to counteract Arsenal rather than what you might do in the future. And then they've gone and been so dominant with possession anyway. I don't know if you can learn how you might play football moving forward.
I feel like what Tottenham worked on a lot last week was the press, I think. Um, and it didn't go well that ultimately. But if you watched back the two games against Arsenal this season, you'll see very different approaches from Tottenham. Tottenham at the Emirates were just completely passive and waited to get beat. Whereas in this one, Tottenham didn't wait to get beat, tried to be aggressive in the press and just got annihilated anyway, basically. So like on Friday, um, me and David discussed about Eze and lack of trust from Arteta. Basically saying we didn't think he'd played a derby despite what he did first time around. Completely forgetting that Arteta just went, it's fucking Spurs, isn't it? Just play him anyway. And I didn't actually think that Gyökeres would play either. I actually thought that Gabriel Jesus would start. Look, well done to Arteta. He's got the team selection absolutely spot on there. Eze, the message would be the same as after the last North London derby. The doctor's gone now. Martin Odegaard's back fit. He's now got a big dilemma whether he decides to go with the momentum of Eze again versus Chelsea. And now it's very different because Chelsea be playing into Casado, Santos, Enzo Fernandez. It's a whole different ball game. Big decision whether he plays Eze again. He knows the tactical discipline that he will get from Martin Odegaard if he brings him back into the team. Gyökeres will stay in the team though. Took his goals really well. Helped massively by the fact that Tottenham obviously went man-to-man all over the pitch, and it meant Gyökeres just had a fight with Radu Dragusin. And yeah, he got 18 DEFCONs, but as I said, Gyökeres must have bullied him another 18 times. That was his best performance for Arsenal, I think, probably. I've not watched all of his games, but I would imagine it is. His confidence will be higher. I think they were saying last night he's scored more goals than any other player in the Premier League this calendar year. Is that right?
For Arsenal. Or this
No,
calendar
for anyone.
year. Okay, fair play. I mean, he's on 10 goals for the season
up on
so
everyone,
far.
I think. I think he's
scored
got a
two
few in
against
cups and
Sunderland.
stuff as well. He's got a few in cups and stuff as well, isn't he? Champions League and League
When
Cup.
was
He
game
scored at
week
Chelsea as well.
24 was against Leeds. He's got 5 this year so far.
He's got 5 in the league, but I think he's
Mm.
he's got quite a number more than that in the cup competitions. Forgive me, I don't know the
Okay.
exact number, but he's obviously in form. He'll stay in the team. I wouldn't go chasing that personally.
He's
Despite
expensive, isn't he? The
he's
price
eight
makes
eight,
him quite a jump
I wouldn't
from the likes of your
with the
Thiagos or
blank.
whatever.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
buy that over Ekateke or Thiago at this moment. I wouldn't be chasing after those who've been on from the double, and there will be a handful who've done that. Yeah, you run. I wouldn't come off him either, just for clarity. Yeah, Tottenham played into the hands of those. Not to take anything away from Arsenal. Trust me, I sat there and I looked at the clock. It was 65 minutes, and I said to my dad, 3-1 here would be a good result.
Mm.
There was no way in the world we were getting back into that game. You use the expression a lot, men against boys. Like, ultimately, that's absolutely what it was. Arsenal's press is the best in the league when they get it right. It's by miles the best in the league. It's one of the reasons I'm so confident of them still going on to win this league. They won't have it as easy as they did yesterday in any other game left this season, by the way. Not a single one. But aggressively and in the press, they largely got it right yesterday. The goal they conceded came from a rare Declan Rice error, which was quite amusing, wasn't it? I've seen it back where he's giving it the concentrate and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then ends up basically laughing at himself after he was, oh, you're sorry, it was my bad. But he's been outstanding for them. I wouldn't run
So
away
good.
from him in FPL. He'll tick over. He was always liable to get DEFCON in a game like this. I think, yes, those with double defense, I think probably can now begin to look away. It will definitely still win out this week, obviously, if they keep a clean sheet. And I think for those of us just on, say, Gabriel now, it probably will still work out slightly better for us if they concede rather than keep the clean sheet. There'll still be quite a lot of rare ownership out there. Those people aren't going to go anywhere. They're highly likely just going to play, say, Dubravka in 31. But yeah, if you're a Timber owner, people like Van Dijk or going down to Anderson and spending your money that would maybe get you up to Verts or something else this week, yeah, people be looking at it. And I think with Timber as well, like I said, okay, maybe Brighton away is there a bit of rotation now, maybe in 29, in which case you look at him playing 2 in 4. And I think he's got, one double-digit haul all season. I know his XG data has been really good. It's been better than Gabriel's and stuff. But it feels like he's just been ticking in there as like a supplement to Gabriel when they keep a clean sheet that's just bumping it a little bit and probably ultimately not really been worth it. So
Yeah, agreed.
it's
His points returns came early in the season. Like the big ones were very early in the season. You can't forget the 24 point. I mean, it's a double digit. It was a 24 pointer against Leeds. He
yeah,
had an
but if
11
you
pointer
look,
against West Ham as well.
because I
So
looked at this last
two
night,
double digit hauls.
he got more points in the first 10 game weeks, partly because of that return against Leeds, than the 17 game weeks since. So there's nothing in there really. So there's a lot of sixes.
Uh,
Even when they've had clean sheets, there's been a number in there with bookings like yesterday and stuff. It was a moment where he thought about tripping Simmons. It would have been a definite second yellow, by the way. And I did think, Arteta might take him off because he might, if he, if it was an easy way for Arsenal to make sure he didn't lose the game. As long as Arsenal had 11 players on the pitch, there was no way they weren't going to win it, right?
yeah.
Truthfully, I obviously am gutted to lose the derby in that manner, but also somewhat relieved that that's all it was. Because it had Arsenal won 6-7-1 yesterday, or even to nil, I don't think anybody had been going, that was an outrageous final score. So Tottenham just got the press. We won't know if it's going to be better till we see Tottenham against, let's say, weaker opponents, because at least they don't have to play Arsenal or Manchester City again this season. So let's see how it looks for Tottenham after the next two, which are really important against Fulham and Palace. If Fulham and Palace open them up as badly as Arsenal did yesterday, we're down, because they don't have the quality whatsoever, mate. Honestly, at least like with you, I'm going, yeah, I think Forest are the best of the three. You've got Mateus Fernandes, you got Bowen, you got Somerville. You got a defence that looks cohesive together. Christian Romero. The thing is, when you watch Dragusin try and play out from the back, man, my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Liability with him, incapable without
I
him. You
think
said it a few
also
times.
I'm not going to throw it at Tudor because it's clear he's coming, he's going to play a back three and he's going to, I don't want to be stubborn about it, but new manager's come in, he wants to get his ideas across. And I don't think, we can all do hindsight and say, oh, he should have played a back four. But if the intention is to play a back three, I don't think just going the back four just for the one game in hindsight would have been right. It's better to try and get the whatever's being implemented in play that's right for the next couple and obviously beyond. Truthfully, we ain't got the personnel to play a back three at the moment. He did say after the game that two players would be back this week. Porro, we think, is possibly one. That will be huge for us because at least then you can play two fullbacks in the wing back position. So Porro, right wing back. Archie Gray, we've discussed it a lot on Tottenham. I don't want to dig the kid out. He's not a wing back. Jesus Christ. Poor fellow has to play everywhere. And wing back, for him to look up and see nothing in front of him is shocking. So Porro obviously at least has variation in terms of his distribution and stuff. He'll be the best passer in the team if he plays until Romero's back. But we think the other one might be Kinski. I didn't even notice till late last night that he wasn't even on the bench, so I presume that's another injury. So that might be the other one that's bad, is Kinski. Fucking great.
Ah, mate. Listen, we've had quite a lot of questions in on Twitter about Spurs.
Go on, do a few of them then.
No.
That's probably better than me just
that,
waffling.
That. What? Because none of them are FPL related, James.
Well, that's fine.
They're all going to be saved for Tottenham, which is on Wednesday. So if you want that, then you got sign up to Patreon and be a part of it. It's more stupid stuff like, are you fearful about relegation? So on. It's on, man. You got to be.
I think I've been ahead of the game on this, guys.
Yeah, exactly that. Good. Cool. Alrighty. Should we do some of the other questions that we've had in on Twitter before we wrap this episode?
Congratulations, Gooners, by the way. Well done.
Yeah, look, I think I spoke to Gooners before the game, one of my mates on Saturday, and I was really surprised at how down they were after the last two in terms of their title hopes. I was like, you're still going to win it. They're like, nah, we've been here before. We've thrown it away before. We're going to throw it away again.
We said, yeah, I understand that from an Arsenal perspective. Their fear going into the weekend and our little bit of renaissance would be the wrong word, but a little bit of positive swing. But obviously, we sacked our manager. But the positive for us and the negative from their perspective was way more about Arsenal and maybe their mental state rather than anything in terms of the football, like how they're going to handle themselves. And we said last week we wouldn't know if it was a good fixture or a bad fixture for Arsenal until it was gone. Clearly, now it's gone. We can go, well, of course, it was the doctor, wasn't it? Of course, it was a great fixture for Arsenal. But that they won't have another game that easy for the rest of this season. Absolutely certain of it.
Yep. Alrighty. Chato's Chip says, would you move Timber to Van Dijk?
Done it.
For a hit?
No chance.
Looking long term, it's effectively a -2 because obviously VVD plays in 31 and Timber doesn't. You think VVD plays in 31? There's still 3 or 4 games so you could pick up a knock or get injured or what have you.
Yeah, what if Timber outscores him over the next 3? What's your effective then? I don't know the science behind that, but no, I wouldn't be taking it. There's nothing wrong with Jurriën Timber. Truthfully, if I wasn't sitting there with 5 free transfers, I wouldn't have done it. It's like knowing I've got to make a transfer this week, and that is such a logical move
your hand,
in that sort of position. It's like Timber's going to drop later this week. Van Dijk's going up now. There'll be more interest as the week goes on. The fixtures are great, so he's going to keep building over the next couple of weeks, heading to the blank. Defenders also look shit for the blank. The fixtures in 31 aren't great. So you look at something like Van Dijk and go, okay, Brighton away, it's not the best fixture, but I feel comfortable with that. So it was a logical move. Would I do it for a hit? No chance. I wouldn't have done it if I'd 1, 2, 3 transfers in the bank, so I just don't think.
Okay. FPL Church says, is there anything more infuriating than when you're losing, wasting time, constantly switching throw-in takers, even in your own half?
I thought you said you wouldn't ask me any Tottenham questions.
I didn't know that's what you guys were doing. I thought it might be.
There was a fairly unfortunate scenario where Matisse Tell came on towards the end and was playing left wing back, and it's like, am I meant to take throw-ins? It's like, yeah, unfortunately, but obviously there wasn't a scripted plan where he was going to go and play left wing back. So yeah, it was a bit of a mess and stuff. I presume that's what the question's relating to anyway.
FPL Stranger sat at 400k and wants to know if 100k as a rank is still achievable and what's the best way to go about it between 28 and 31, rather than just waiting for wildcarding for the doubles.
Yeah, of course it is.
It's still realistic. There's more than a quarter of the season left.
Of course it is.
More than a quarter of the season left.
Get more points than everyone else.
Yeah.
Look, ultimately, when you have something hits like Nico O'Reilly did for me this week, then that's the easiest way to do it, isn't it? But it's got to hit. And most of the time it's not, right? So actually, truthfully, you want to chip away if that's your target, top 100k, and you're at 400k. Truthfully, I would say at the moment, you're better off close in being to the template at the moment. And just keep chipping away at it. It will happen naturally if you're on the case with understanding what can happen to fixtures, etc. I wouldn't be going wild. Yes, these are the ones will make the difference. But my 101 week, how many players in my team did I have that were actually differential? There weren't. It was like quite
maybe
a solid.
Chow.
Yeah, Chow. But it was quite a solid team. A lot of people were buying Rice that week, and then he got flagged, so people were then put off. I had Thiago. I had other people who did well, who were just consistent performers. It wasn't like a wild differential team. It just happened to be that the team I had was quite solid, and they all just went off at the same time. So that can happen as well.
Last question, James, we're going to give to Jack. When a game's 0-0, should both teams get 0 points rather than 1 point? Just to add more entertainment into the game?
No.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's fair because you think about like
not conceding a goal is a skill.
Keeping a clean, it's the equivalent of keeping a clean sheet. Yeah,
I think in modern football, if you don't score, then if the opposition don't score, there probably should be some reward for that. So I think actually keeping clean sheets in the modern game is way more difficult than it used to be.
Yep. Cool. Alrighty, James. We'll call it a day there for this episode. There was a point after we'd started recording for about the 6th time that maybe we never thought we would get here. Somehow we have. I hope you've enjoyed it. We'll be back with the Q&A for patrons later on today. And
or tomorrow.
COTC for you tomorrow. Most importantly, stay safe. Look after yourselves. Ciao for now.
Thanks, everyone. Be nice to each other as always. Play it your way. Cue music, please, man child.